Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A little, very important, I would say, update from Europe or from Ukraine or Europe via Ukraine. The Russians finally call out the countries, or give us the list of the countries that they will strike first. And there are 4 in the European Union. And Europe will have its war that the leaders in Europe wanted for so long. So remember, Russia names 4 countries that will strike. That is not in relation to the arms manufacturing companies that produce drones for Russia. That's a different one. Yesterday, the Russians published a list of companies in Europe that produce drones for Ukraine. And finally, the Russians said, we will strike those factories wherever they are in Europe directly. And they named, in Italy, they named in England, they named a few countries in Poland, some companies over there. Go and check the video I made yesterday. So the Russians said, we will strike them with missiles. This is the second one. And they said, we have the addresses, so it's going to happen. That is the second topic of this video. The third one, the Russians, according to the Ukrainians, are preparing a mass offensive, spring-summer offensive, and plan to take over Donbas by September. We also find out, according to the Ukrainians, that the Russians are planning to carry out 7 massive missile and drone attacks per month on Ukraine. Well, why not 6 or 4 or 8? I don't know yet, but we're going to read that article. Then the Russians launched another missile and drone attack on Ukraine, mainly in the port facilities of Izmail by the Danube River and Odessa by the Black Sea. I will show you pictures on that and how many drones and missiles were launched. One of these drones entered the Romanian airspace, violated the Romanian airspace, and the Romanians did what? Maybe they're going to start fighting the Russians now. All right, so Trump comes out and says about either yesterday and the day before's massive Russian missile and drone attack on Ukraine, which had about 704 missiles and drones, 44 missiles and 654 or something like this, 654 something like this drones. Trump calls that terrible, but we find out that Iran war drains U.S. arsenal and delays deliveries to Europe. Why are the U.S. arsenal depleted or drained? Because of the attacks. So for Trump to call the Russians terrible attack on, and they are their own arsenals depleted and drained, it's kind of like idiotic. But what do you expect from the leader of the free world? So these are the topics for today's video. Let's start with the first one. The 4 countries that Russia calls out and says, you will be struck if this happens again. What happened? Let me read it for you. Russian security chief issues drone attack warning to 4 NATO states. Sergei Shoigu has cautioned Finland and the Baltic states against allowing Kiev to use their airspace for attacks on Russia. So what happened? There were some attacks on St. Petersburg, or better put, in the north, in this little area in Luga, Ust-Luga, where the Russians have this big port and facilities with gas and oil and coal all ready to go around the world. So the Ukrainians struck them, if you remember, with drones, supposedly from, let's get this airfields off, supposedly from here with love they reached over there. So from here, they struck over there. The Russians claim, because there were some drones that fell on Estonia, Latvia, and Finland, they said no. Actually, these countries allowed, Poland included, to fly like this. So from Ukraine, which is right here, go to Poland, safe. In between Russia and Belarus, go to Lithuania, fly to Latvia, go to Estonia, and go around here and Zappa, Kopa, Mopa Lopa, right there. And go north, enter Finland, maybe going over the Baltic states, Baltic Sea, go over here and then safe, and then descend right here. From here to here, from Finland right here to Luga. Understand? So the Russians said, if you guys allow it to happen, or if you guys do not know it happens, either way, we will strike you. Warning. Okay, let's read what Shoigu actually said. Russia has the right to retaliate if Finland and the Baltic states, Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania, total population 6.1 million people, are found to be deliberately allowing Ukrainian drones to pass through their airspace. And I'm quoting, recently, there has been an increase in Ukrainian drone strikes against Russia via Finland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. As a result, civilians are suffering and significant damage is being caused to civilian infrastructure. So, under the Article 51 of the UN Charter, the security chief stressed, this is an armed attack. We will react in self-defense. Got it. Either, he says, Western air defenses are proving ineffective, or those countries, or those countries, and I'm quoting, deliberately provide their airspace, thereby becoming open accomplices in aggression against Russia. He added, in latter case, Moscow has the right to self-defense in response to an, and I'm quoting, armed attack under Article 51 of the UN Charter. The security chief stressed. This is what the Americans said, that we are attacking Iran because Iran aggressed us, and we, in self-defense together with the Jewish state, we have to take over their country. In recent weeks, Kiev has intensified drone strike on Russia in what Moscow has characterized as quote-unquote terrorist attacks, with the Russian military regularly reporting hundreds of UAVs down in a single night. So, there you have, my friends. We have the Baltic Sea of Ust-Luga and Primorsk with swarms of UAVs. So if you allow these guys right there, these countries, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, if they allow, he didn't mention Poland at all. I wonder how they got over there, these drones. Definitely they didn't go this way, didn't know this way, so no Slovakia, so must have been through Poland. He didn't mention Poland yet. Alright, why? Because the drones fell in Finland, like 2 of them, and 2, I think, in Latvia or something. So, in their attack of Luga, Stupiluga, Magaluga, Tsokaluga. You understand? Yes, of course you understand. Look at this big project over there. It's being built by the Russians. Okay, so this is the first one. You've been warned. Second, Sputnik. Russian missile strikes would bury EU's drone scheme for Ukraine instantly. Expert. Now, the expert just give us what could happen, and they say, this guy says, they say we will, the main issue lies in logistics and combat efficiency, he explains. He's gonna say that the arrangement remains viable only until Russian missiles target the assembly sites. So they say, you keep producing the bodies for these drones, we will strike those sites in Europe. The drones' fuselages and engines cannot be shipped to Ukraine in low-profile containers. So they will remain viable only until Russian caliber missiles strike them. You got it? So that's what's going to happen. And even if Europe manages to deliver thousands of drones, they will likely be shot down by the Russians. Well, it's not that, because meanwhile the European facilities themselves, whose addresses have been made public, become legitimate targets. Attacks on them don't have to be purely militarily. Targeted acts of sabotage or cyber attacks on the design documentation would suffice. So for us, say, we don't have to strike them with the Calibre cruise missiles. We can just sabotage them, start a little fire in the sky, and cyber attacks. I understand? So this is what they are planning to do. And there were a lot of countries that I made a video yesterday on that. Go and check the list. All right, that's the second topic. Let's go to the third one, the Russian summer offensive or spring-summer offensive. Ukrinform. Russia preparing new spring-summer offensive in southeastern Ukraine. Russia is preparing a new ground offensive in southeastern Ukraine and aims to capture the entire Donbas region by September. Southeast, where is southeast? Well, let's look over whenever this decides to show me the southeast. So this is Ukraine, this is south, and this is east. So in this area, southeast, so they will try to take Kherson, and definitely they're going to go over Mykolaiv and Odessa. This is a given that the Russians will not allow the Ukrainians or the NATO countries or NATO to have access here, the Black Sea. They have enough in Romania, so they will take this one. And here you have the other thing is the by September Donbas region. What's Donbas region? Donbas region is this area right here. So that will be taken, they say, by September. The only thing that they still have to take is this region here in Donetsk People Republic or Donetsk Oblast. But they also enter Dnipropetrovsk. They also have to finish up Zaporozhia. We'll find out. The situation is not very good. Let me, yeah, it's okay. 16. Yeah. So here is how the Russians are advancing. Zaporozhia, the city is right here. They can encircle them right here. It's bad for the Ukrainians or for NATO if you want. Right here, encirclement or pinching right here. It's going to be Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, the two of them. Then look what's going on here. They can go behind them, destroy the defense belt of the Ukrainians. And then you have Kharkov right here. Kupiansk, according to Russians, is taken over. The Ukrainians claim that they didn't take it over. They pushed them back. In any case, they are big time in Kharkov, including what they say Kharkov or Kharkov, okay? Because Kharkov is Russian, Kharkiv is Ukrainian. They also have in Sumy Oblast and some little pockets right here. All right, let's go to the next article. Ukrainian intelligence says Russia is preparing spring-summer offensive and aims to seize Donbas by September. Now, Russia preparing to carry out 7 large-scale strikes on Ukraine per month. Why not 6? Why not 4? Why not 7? Who the hell knows? The big rounded big head says so. These guys have only rounded head foreign ministers. Kuleba before him has the same allure. And by the way, do you know where Kuleba is? The former foreign minister of Ukraine? Yes, he's a professor at the US university. A university in the United States of America. Very interesting. I don't think you go to teach at a university in a hostile state unless you belong to those guys. You are owned. So we'll see where Kuleba, we'll see where Mr. Sybiha, this guy, Sybiha, the foreign minister, will end up eventually. Next. Russian forces launch Iskander missile and 172 drones. Ukrainian air defense intercepts 147 drones, not the Iskander. So they say that strikes from the missile and 20 drones have been recorded at 8 locations. All right, this is what they say. 1 ballistic missiles and 20 UAVs have been recorded at 8 locations. The same thing with this one. Ukraine's air defense is down 147 out of 172. And they struck mainly right here. Izmail, Russian strike port of Izmail, damaging production buildings and railway facilities. Izmail is a port city at the Danube River between Ukraine and Romania, which is located, let me start with this one, is in the south. Right here, this is the Danube River that divides Bulgaria and Romania, comes here, cuts Romania right here in two, and they get right here to Ukraine. This is Izmail and this is Reni. These are two of the Ukrainians' main ports on the Danube River. that flows obviously through three branches, 1, 2, 3 Polizei, into the Danube in the Black Sea. And here you have the Snake Island. That is also Ukrainian because it was given by the Jewish Anna Pauker to the Soviets in 1950s, and the imbecile, I would say, traitor, former president of Romania, Emil Constantinescu, said, yeah, I give it to the Russians, to the Ukrainians after 1989, when he was elected president in 1990, I don't know, 6, 8, something like this, garbage. Anyway, he didn't have the power, just so you know. And Hanna Robinson, a Jewess from Soviet Union, aka Anna Pauker, she decided that she's going to give this territory to Soviet Union. Why? Because she could. All right, so there is Izmail, where the guys attacked. And here the Romanians said, oh my God, the Russian drone entered Romanian airspace during attack on Ukraine. So let me go to Izmail and show you Izmail on the map. All right, so this is Romania, this is the Black Sea, this is the Danube River, this is Izmail right here, right on the Danube River. And it's a lot of, obviously, look over there. You see what over there? Barges right over there. They're feeling it's a big, important maritime, or how do you want to say, transport route right there, right there. So this is what the Russians struck, and there's much more up here, little port, more barges here, more here. So if you want, and if you don't, I will show you. It's a lot of targets to be struck by the Russians. I think this must be coal. Yeah, coal here. Again, this is the cranes ready to fill the or load. Look over here, all barges, just little ships that ready ore. So it's a lot of targets all along the watchtower, including here. So this is Izmail. All right, let's go. The Romanians did what they do best. Oh my God, they entered our airspace. What are you gonna do? Shoot that drone down. That's all you can do. Defend your country. So as of now, the Romanians did not do that. Probably they got some F-16s going out and trying to do something. Residents of the northern part of Tulcea County received a raw alert warning about a threat. Romanian air defense systems detected 2 aerial targets that appeared in the border area. Let's see. Hilia Veche, Pacapa. Did we see any F-16s here? Pacațacan, they are related to the Iskander missile and 172 drones. I don't see any. Says expert would pop up. They didn't do anything. They want the ministry also condemn Russia's actions, saying they pose a threat to regional security and violate international law. Blah blah, tra-la-la, lululu. Romania's defense ministry said experts would head to the area in the morning to conduct a search operation. Okay, go to war with Russia. All right, next one. Another target, main target, the Russians struck. It was Odessa region. Port, again, port, equipment, and homes damaged. So Odessa, wo bist du? Ich bin here. So Odessa is right here. Let's go to, this is Ukraine again. This is Romania. This is the part that the Russians will take it as Novorossiya, which is this part in here. This is Odessa, another port area. It's a lot of ports here, and these little coves, or what do you want to call them, that the Ukrainians have. Usually they have it. Let me show you which one is the main. The Russians struck a few times. Right there, it's in one of these coves. I think it's right here. Yeah, exactly right here. You see, this is where they ship coal. That's coal right there. Tsuparupa muka fuka. All right, and we got more coal in here. Pakaraka makalaka. See, makalaka malaka. And this is the port that the Russians struck a few times, which is a little bit northeast of Odessa. From here with love over there, and obviously they have here some ports infrastructure as well. Next one, we go to Trump, and Trump thinks he's funny, or at least he shows how much he knows about things and the way he thinks. It's more important to see how someone thinks, not much how much someone knows. I will explain. Trump calls Russian mass strike on Ukraine terrible, terrible. US President Donald Trump has described Russia's large-scale air attack on Ukraine on April 16th as terrible. I think it's terrible, terrible. Yeah, because they struck with 636, and this is what they say that they downed. There was 704 or 703 44 missiles, and the rest were drones that the Russians launched on the evening of the 15th and the morning of 16th. So they were on the 17th today. So it's more important to know how to think, or to think properly. Yes, think properly instead of knowing things. You know things by memory. I'm talking about knowing things without analysis. You memorize. This is the foundation of intelligence, memory, because you have to, retrieve, recollect, bring back information you supposedly have. So you need to inform yourself with the weapons, and then you use the weapons to destroy, which is the brain. Okay, double fuck. All right. So you have to think, you have to analyze, synthesize that information that you must have through memory and reach the right conclusion. That is, for instance, if you know the fire makes smoke, and you see a smoke coming up somewhere, you can say, well, why is that? Fire, and I think through my information, fire releases smoke. There it could be. So that's the right thinking. But if you say, no, I think fire also comes if someone farts and someone uses a gas or a lighter. Maybe someone farting over there. Obviously, you're an imbecile. But nevertheless, the thing is, you have to have the right way of thinking, the analysis. That's how you reach conclusions above the pure memory basic foundation that you should have. This is the right thinking, which is based on logic, based on gathering evidence pertaining to the issue, objectively ignoring subjectivity, which is I don't like this, I like that, and I ignore selective gathering of information will skew your conclusions. That's it. Very easy, very clear, and don't forget to use the Socratian method, which is always ask why. Why? So when Trump comes and says, it's terrible, yes, it's terrible, it is terrible, but how about this one right here? In the same day, April 17th, Iran war drains U.S. arsenal. Why U.S. arsenal is drained? Because this guy is using the missiles to attack Iran. So it's terrible, I don't think it's terrible. Why don't you look in your little, backyard? Delays deliveries to Europe. So you see, the Americans' ceasefire that they begged the Iranians, I think it was the Americans begging the Iranians with the ceasefire. It was not a given, not the Iranians. You see, you don't have to come and say, you know what, we got them, 10% of our missiles, that's all our stock. They're not going to probably say that. They say, well, you find out from other articles, from other statements that we kind of need a timeout to replenish our missile stocks. And if we need that, imagine that piece of shit over there that we are yes sir to, which is, exactly, the state. All right? They don't have squat. Therefore, what are they going to do? They need timeout. Yeah, it's okay. Those guys are attacking Lebanon in the meantime. Why? Iran fucked them up so badly that they can't retaliate anymore. Well, we'll see. The war still goes on. I just wanted to show you how Trump is terrible. It is terrible. How about you? Everything is different. We were attacked by Iran. Russia was not attacked by Iran, okay? All right, why don't you go and place another meme with you and Moses next time? You won't. You know why? He's going to insult the guys in charge of him. He's never going to portray himself as Moses or something like this. Niet. Why? He knows who's in charge. Every day he's surrounded by... Have you noticed that Mr. Lutnick, Howard Lutnick, is not featured by the press anymore? He's still the Commerce Secretary in United States of America. Before, he used to be all the time in the back, sitting over there and, keeping an eye on the white baboon or pink baboon, whatever you want to call the guy, orange baboon, orange like the peeps. Anyway, so he is gone. You don't see Lutnick again. Why? Epstein was too obvious. All right, Epstein. So now he's still there. He's still the Secretary of Commerce of you and I in America. He's still in charge of us, okay? You see Bassett coming but said not the was Lutnik. No, the Jew is not showing up for a while, and then he comes back with hupsa, hoo, hapa, nagila, papa. He's gonna show up. I guarantee you. Give it some time. Why? The human brain's attention span lasts 3 minutes, so give it and take 5 minutes. Lutnik is back. All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. But he's not going to show up like Moses. He's going to insult whatever he wants on your religion. But that religion, how do you say no in Yiddish? Oh, kaka. Oh, that religion, no, is not going to kaka. No, kaka. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.